Going to be a long, strange trip. Hello and welcome to LAFC Plus, episode number 56. Wow, we have hit the Lawrence Taylor of episodes here in terms of jersey numbers,
LT.
right?
I love
the
it.
jersey number. It's the first one that pops into my head is 56.
Yep.
So, episode 56, the great Mario Ruiz. I'm Dave Denholm. Welcome to LAFC Plus, where we cover, of course, all things black and gold and the rest of MLS, which we love talking about as well. Plenty to get to today, Mario. How you been, brother? How's your week been going?
A week has been good. Week has been very busy, of course, just like this entire month, you know. It's a very busy month, but a big game at the very, very end. And LAFC has been navigating it very well. And it's just a matter of handling business in each and every single one, right? You take it one game at a time, like the cliche always. And LAFC have been doing that very well. And there's a big game this weekend in Montreal for LAFC. Got to get these full 3 points here on the road and roll into the next big game. Just, feeling good.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Looking for an 8th straight without a loss for LAFC and MLS play. Several draws thrown in there. Let's face it. We don't love that. You're dropping points. No, that's never a great thing, despite the fact sometimes a draw is a good result. It's never a great result, but you're not losing. You're getting points. You're picking them up on the road. And, obviously, going for victories at home, certainly, which has not been a problem for LAFC. But this one's going to be on the road at CF Montréal. Long trip. This is one of the long trips.
Yeah.
If you're coming from the West Coast type of team, especially Southern California, all the way up to CF Montreal. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, welcome. We obviously you can listen to this podcast wherever you get your pods. Subscribe, rate, review. Give us a good review if you love us. If you hate us, don't review us. Tell your enemy to listen if you hate us. But if you love us, let some people know that LAFC Plus is out there talking MLS and talking, of course, the black and gold. But if you're watching on YouTube, you see Mario's at 710 ESPN, which is, of course, the home station, the home of LAFC on the radio. And I'm in my daughter's playroom in the basement. So if you're wondering, I have been banished to the basement, not because of any kind of stupidity. I'm resting an injury. It's easier where I'm at. I got the whole place to myself. Can't really walk around too much. So that's the key right now. Got to keep,
you look like you're just chilling, just relaxing, just posted.
I am relaxed. I do feel good about that, right? And so
yep.
Every time I watch myself on YouTube, I'm like, when is Seth Rogen going to play me in the Dave Denholm life story? He's gonna nail it. Seth, you're going to be great. I promise.
He would be honored to do that. He would love that.
I hope so.
Imagine living your lifestyle, Dave. That's awesome.
I got to tell you, obviously Apple TV has the MLS package, and I'm on Apple TV because of that a lot. But I found my way to other things on Apple TV because of that, frankly. Just because I watch so much MLS and the highlights and all the black and gold stuff that's on there, all the programming, the side programming, other stuff that's going on. Found my way onto some of the Apple TV shows. The Studio with Seth Rogen.
Everybody's talking about that. Everybody's talking about it. Here at this studio, ESPN LA, they talk about it. I got friends that I haven't talked to in a while, but they're posting about it on IG. So, yeah, shout out to that show, which I haven't watched yet. Have you watched it?
Oh, yeah, I'm done with this. Yeah, I'm caught up.
Nice.
Oh, it's great. Tremendous show.
I got to check it out.
I tried to get my wife to watch it, but she, of course, worked in TV and producing and all that, Hollywood, and she was like a little too close to home. I'll watch it some other time, we'll
should be nitpicking all these little things like, that's not right, that's not real.
Well, the show, there's a lot of stuff that happens. No, this is movies and Hollywood in a studio. There's a lot of tense stuff. Now it's all light and fun on the show, but this stuff happens in real life where it's not, it's like, 24/7, a lot of pressure kind of things. And my wife was like, I'll watch it some other time. I still a little PTSD maybe for her in that life. But it is a crucial here. This is what I wanted to start with, Mario. Yes, we have this road trip to Montreal. We're going to talk about it. You cannot overlook it. It's 3 points on the schedule that you have to play for. No question.
Yeah.
But we can look a little bit ahead. And again, not this, taking nothing away from this match. We've got to go out and win this match against Montreal to set up what could be the biggest week in MLS, or in LAFC's history since winning the cup, right? I mean, this is the game. Yeah. It's a big money game. This is a crucial period in club history coming up. And what I mean by that is if they beat Club America, then it sets off a whole nother chain of a month of amazing, or a couple of weeks of, potentially maybe even more, a month, whatever, of games against the biggest clubs in the world. So this is a crucial period in club history coming up, no question. And I think we have to start even talking about it now, because next week on this show, we'll preview that match, of course. Like, my gosh, we got a lot to talk about that way. We're not going to do that today. The preview for today is Montreal, which is a massive game coming up in the week. But Mario, we got to talk a little bit about this. This just is it's the biggest match. Is it? I should ask. To you.
I'm going to word it like this. I'm going to word it like it's a huge, big, massive opportunity. It's a big opportunity because the obvious, the prize here, which is that ticket to the FIFA Club World Cup, the money, of course, almost $10 million for the club that wins this playing game. Yeah, minimum. But there is no trophy at stake. So for me, I mean, believe me, I'm going to be celebrating. Fans will be celebrating. The team will be celebrating like as if they won a trophy. But there's no trophy at stake here. You get your ticket into the tournament. I think the biggest matches for LAFC have been those finals, the CONCACAF Champions Cup finals, MLS Cup finals. Those, for me, if I had to categorize, I think those would be the biggest matches, in club history. But
see, here's where I disagree.
Okay.
Here's where I disagree. I like your thinking, and I can't say you're wrong by any means. It's your opinion too, but I like your opinion. I'm not that far away. I would disagree. The games we lost in those finals, turns out they're not as big as this. I mean, that's just a cold hard fact. MLS Cup is the biggest game LAFC have ever played because they won.
Yeah,
I know that sounds crazy because if they had lost, it would still be a massive game. Don't get me wrong, but I think you have to look back on history in sports.
Okay.
I think MLS Cup is the biggest game LAFC has ever played. The one they won, not the one they lost. Does that make sense though? Like,
so what happens if LAFC lose this playing game or win this playing game? Where does that put this game?
If they win this playing game, it's the second biggest game in MLS history or in LAFC history.
Got you.
It's still behind it winning MLS Cup because that's where you're 100% right. Even in my opinion, there's no trophy on the line yet. Certainly. So feels like it. And the monetary value of it is incredible. Make no mistake. But here's another thing though. The reason it is so big and would be the second biggest game in LAFC history, and probably still is, even if they were to lose it somehow, like it is that big, even though we've made other cups and maybe the US Open Cup win would be bigger. Okay. But if we win this match, it's a world match. Like there's going to be a lot of eyes even on this match. Like most people will say, people will probably wait till the Club World Cup to watch. I know it's going to be huge. A lot of people aren't even talking about it yet who are going to fall in love with this tournament by the time it gets going. We've known about it, Mario. We've known how big it's going to be for a long time. And you know me, I love
before even the playing game was here, before LAFC was even in the playing game, we 100%. Were like, how do we get LAFC into this game at some point one day?
You're exactly right. I was already looking for 2029,
right. We were.
That's why, we were talking about CONCACAF Champions Cup because you get into this tournament. Yeah. Now, CONCACAF Champions Cup is its own prize that is massive. As Mario said, even getting to finals of that are big games. But to win that then and get into the next one would be, we have an opportunity. It came up. But Mario and I have been talking about this tournament for a long time. It is going to be so much bigger than people even realize yet. This thing is going to gain so much momentum. It's going to be incredible. And we want to be there. But I think if we get there, you're on the world stage again. This is so much bigger than people even realize to just see your jersey on that, on the pitch against Chelsea, not in some friendly where you're going to be, you're going to play guys that we've hardly, seen play maybe from LAFC 2, and they're going to play kids from their academy mixed in with a few veterans, and Denis Bouanga will play 45 minutes or what. No, this is Chelsea.
Yeah. Right. And it's not a regional tournament. It's not an intercontinental tournament. It's a
FIFA
global tournament.
And you know what's on the line for Chelsea and LAFC? I'll even say for LAFC too. Like, not a 10 million. That's the bare minimum. 120 million potentially for winning the tournament.
How much do we get of that, Dave? Oh, I mean, no we don't know. It's okay.
We get to keep our jobs, which is nice. So let's just hope we win and keep going. No question. And I definitely want to call these matches, of course. That'll be amazing.
Yeah.
But $120 million potentially for the winner of this tournament. Yeah. Now I guarantee you, teams like Chelsea and Real Madrid and they feel like they have a shot to win. Okay, no question. They feel like they have a shot at 120 million. This ain't 10 million.
Yeah.
This is like legit insane money being thrown about as the prize money. And at last I read, I think I was reading something from FIFA. FIFA's not keeping a dime from this tournament, like the actual organization.
Wow.
All this money's going back to the teams in prize money and whatever. Now, obviously they have expenses, but this prize money, FIFA's not keeping anything like profit, quote unquote, or anything. It's all the money they make goes to these. That's why the payouts are so insane. Something upwards of $1 billion for the 32 teams. Like, it's just unbelievable. So yeah, that can't be overlooked in terms of the prestige of the tournament. Now, I know stop talking about money and, Seattle Sounders are not going to win Denholm. They're not going to win 120 million. No, maybe not, of course. But, they're at home too. They can win some games and you get millions upon millions just for winning games in the tournament as well, added on to your initial prize money. So say what you will. I mean,
yeah,
incredible opportunity, just so much. But more importantly to me is to play these teams and for the players themselves, Mario. And this is why it's so crucial. You want to be sharp as you can be against Montreal coming up, which we'll talk about. Because if you get in and beat Club America, then you want to be as sharp as you can be for that first match against Chelsea. You don't think Denis Bouanga wants eyeballs on him at a Club World Cup?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't think Cengiz Under wants eyeballs on the Club World Cup and wants him, his jersey to be there or whatever, playing, and David Martinez and everybody, Ordaz and Delgado. Like, that's the whole point. Everybody wants to be in this tournament as a player.
I think the FIFA Club World Cup comes at just the perfect time. The fact that LAFC is in this busy part of the schedule, it gives LAFC that chance to go up against high competition like it is, those high intensity games, those derby matches that they just played in, the games, all the matches that they had this month, Seattle, there's some tough matches this month. That only sharpens LAFC, as you were saying, as sharp as can be, rolling into that Club World Cup. So that's why this game on Saturday is a huge game for LAFC. You got to keep the momentum. Keep rolling into that game against Club America. And I think LAFC has handled, the month very well. They handled it at the very, very beginning of the month when they went on the road against Houston with that 2-0 win. They played against Vancouver in Vancouver, came out with a draw, a game that they could have won. This is all sharpening LAFC, and then they had the big one, in Carson last weekend that LAFC also feel that they should have won. And now this kind of like gets them ready for this big match against Club America at BMO Stadium for all that money. And you got to handle business. You just got to handle business in all the games leading up to that.
And that is the business as we move on. LAFC at Montreal, Stade Saputo coming up Saturday. Early game for the West Coast, obviously, because they're traveling a long way back east. It'll be a 4:30 Pacific kickoff, like 4:40, to be honest. Pre-game will start at 4 o'clock on the ESPN LA app only this weekend, by the way. So the ESPN LA app, download that before that game. You can listen to me on that with the call. Again, pregame right around 4 Eastern, kickoff 4:40, 7:40 local time in Montreal at Stade Saputo. And Mario, this is a full 3 points just out there for the taking. I'm sorry. Montreal is a hot mess. Not only did they get destroyed in the Canadian Classique last weekend in rivalry week, Joel Waterman's red card changed a lot of that, which he'll miss the LAFC match, by the way. A great central defender who's, just had a bad moment there, had a red card on a dog. So that led to a 6-1 Toronto win. Then in the midweek, they're playing in the Canadian Championship against, a lower division team. In fairness, the Canadian Premier League is a good league, and they lost. 1-0 with a pretty strong lineup out there for that, because Waterman can't play against LAFC on Saturday. He started in this match, one of their top, center backs. It wasn't like they rotated like everybody out for this Canadian Championship game and still lost. They can't score.
Yeah,
they literally
8 goals.
Scored, yeah, I mean,
8 goals this season.
Oh, it's just, and they are injured. They are banged up. It's not just, they're so bad. No, they got a lot of talent. Bryce Duke, former LAFC young star, injured. Mahala Opoku's there. We love to, see Mahala. It's going to be fun, to play against him, of course, a former LAFC, real fan favorite in Mahala. So we wish them nothing but the best every other week, but they got a lot of young talent. This team.
And somebody, SoCal soccer fans are going to recognize is their center back, Jalen Neal. Jalen Neal, who comes from Lakewood, California. He went through the Galaxy Academy. He was on Galaxy 2. He made it all the way to the first team. If you remember, last year, Denis and Jalen, they got into it, on the derby match. They got into each other's faces. There was some shoving. There was some jersey pulling. So we'll see what happens when those two meet up this weekend. But yeah, Montreal's not looking good. 1 win on the entire season. So it's those 3 points are there for LAFC to take.
But here's where the issue could be. We see it all the time. We saw it with the Galaxy match, and I know that's a derby and it's a crazy derby. Yeah. We always get every team's best shot. That's it. I mean, that's how LAFC is, quite frankly, right up there, if not the club of MLS. If it's not the best club, it's in your argument, no matter whether you love or hate LAFC, because everybody gives LAFC their best shot. And Montreal's not going to MLS Cup this year. This is their MLS Cup. Bringing in LAFC, the marquee team of MLS, into your stadium for your fans who have not had much to cheer about. And guess what? This is their MLS Cup again. Not only that, we got 2 eyes on Club America. You and I, players can't do that. But that is out there. That's going to be hard to overcome. Thankfully, in a weird way, I'm kind of glad this game's on the road. Get on a long plane flight, get bored on the plane, get off the plane in a brand new city that's a beautiful city, great place. These guys don't play there often, right? If anybody, I don't even know if anybody has played at Montreal from this team. Maybe guys who have been around the league, I have, of course. But I'm saying for LAFC, it's been a while, hasn't it? I mean, I think we played in Montreal with first or second year.
Yeah.
Wasn't it 2018?
It's one of those rare East versus West interconference type of games that don't happen very often on this schedule. So that's why we haven't been over there very often. But
yeah, I mean, they came to our place once, and so we've played them a few times. But this is a great opportunity. It's kind of good that it's on the road in a way to keep us from thinking about Club America too much, because that's going to be at BMO Stadium as well. So break the routine a little bit. Go get 3 points on the road. Take the long flight home and forget about it. That whole flight. No matter what happens, forget about that match. And then when you hit ground in Southern California, when you get done with this game, then it's right on to Club America. But these are 3 points that you got to have.
But I was talking to Marlon today at practice before they took off on the flight. Yeah. And he was saying that they have a lot of respect for Montreal, and that's the mentality I think LAFC has every single week, no matter the standings, no matter where they are on the table, because like you were saying, everybody wants to give LAFC their very, very best. And honestly, Montreal has lost a lot of their games just by 1 goal.
Oh, yeah, no.
A lot of their losses just 2-1, 1-0, and they played well against Columbus, earning a 1-1 draw. They played well against not Toronto. Toronto, they lost 6-1. That was last week, and that was a mess. But that inconsistency is not good for Montreal, but they haven't lost.
The red card changed that whole thing too. I mean, not that they weren't going to win that game. Toronto was the better team, even with 11v11. But once the red card hits, it's a whole different beast. It got out of hand. So, but that is Joel Waterman out of that match. Like, he will not play against LAFC. At least, I don't think he even appealed for that red card, actually, because it was just a clear, pretty easy straight red, kind of, there's no real, there wasn't much of an argument to be had, to be honest. So he won't be in that game, and that's a big blow. But you're right. Jalen Neal has come back from injury, lately, or come back from missing some, I don't know if Bryce Duke is playing, though, but if he's back on the pitch eventually, this is a better team than their record, too. I know that's easy to say, to kind of, sugarcoat it. They're a mess currently in the standings, make no mistake. But as Mario said, their defense isn't bad. Take away those 6 goals against Toronto, again, playing it down a man, and the game got out of hand. You're right, they haven't given up a ton. They're not a bad team. Like, they keep themselves in matches, and when you have young players that are playing a team like LAFC, which is their, MLS Cup, they're going to try to show out. no doubt. And
Yeah,
that's
this is
when they can do
MLS.
some
There's a lot
things.
of parity. You got to
Yeah,
respect each
you
other.
do.
Every team has to respect each other, regardless of the standings. But the one thing I think Montreal does have going for them is the fact that it is such a long flight for LAFC. It's over 5 hours to
Yeah,
get to Montreal, Quebec. So I mean,
very smart
LAFC.
to have left Thursday as we do
Yeah,
this.
they
We do it
left.
on. We
Yeah, today
record
as
this
we
on
record
Thursdays
this.
if you're listening at some other time. So they'll
So they'll be
practice in
training
Montreal.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
on Friday. So that is
They'll
good,
they'll get
actually.
acclimated.
Yep.
They'll be able to do that walk for coffee as you and I always see on social media. It looks so cool and fun that they're all hanging out. And I talked to Steve about that today, matter of fact, too. And he was saying that he did that back in his playing days over in Germany, and that's where he kind of got the idea. And he said it
Hmm.
worked out so well back there that he wanted to bring that to here to LAFC. And it's just a moment to kind of let loose, to kind of relax and get out of the hotel room. You've been there for maybe a night or a couple days, as this one is going to be a couple days. So just to get out, get the guys together, get everybody to hang out and just relax for a bit, and then they can start focusing on the game the next day. But yeah, I think it's good. I mean, it's good. LAFC got to pick up these 3 points on the road.
Yeah, I do. I agree. I think we are starting to see a little bit more of the kind of the finishing, the killer instinct in front, not just
Hmm.
today. We saw it
Yeah.
with a great goal from Nathan Ordaz with a beautiful assist from Ryan Hollingshead. You can't play soccer any better than Hollingshead did on that play to set up that goal, right?
Yeah.
Just perfect.
Dave, actually, I talked to Steve today about that goal, about that play, because
Yeah.
I noticed from our spot up in the booth there in Carson, I saw Steve kind of like get up from his bench and kind of like tell Ryan some instructions. Like he was just intense with the instructions, and I
This
was
is
like,
before the goal.
right before the goal, right before,
Gotcha.
just moments before. And he was telling Ryan to get into the attack. There's space here
Yeah.
on the side here. You need to get into the attack and take that space. Sure enough, the ball comes to Ryan. Ryan takes the space. Boom. Assist to Ordaz. I told
Love
Steve that he deserves half an assist on that one.
I love that. And spoken like a guy who, from a right back spot in his career, didn't mind getting into the attack whenever he could. So, yeah, he loves that. He loves seeing Ryan do that and Sergi doing that up and down down the right and left wings, no doubt. So,
Hmm.
and it'll be interesting. Should be a very strong lineup again. It's been a full week, where it's not like you're rotating in Wednesday and doing, another game on Saturday type of thing. So they've had rest after a long week the previous. So, should be a very interesting game. I think
Dave, talking about Ordaz, though, I
Yep.
think he's just like got something for the big games this year,
Mm.
Like he had a big goal in the preseason match, but it's still a big goal because it's against Club America, right? It's a
Mhm.
preseason. It's a nice goal. He got one against Inter Miami in the Conca Champions. It's a huge goal at home. He got one in the Derby match in Carson. I mean, just more big goals from Nathan Ordaz. Those are totally welcome, and who knows, maybe in this Club America game next weekend, maybe he can get a goal there too as well. That'd be awesome. And
Well, I'm an old
the way he's got that strut, he did that
Yeah.
$1 billion strut, that Conor McGregor Vince McMahon strut. He's got to be feeling himself after that.
Nathan's basically young enough to almost be my grandchild, so I can say this. All right, I'm going to say this to you, Nathan. If you're listening, I know you are. Love you. Don't get me wrong. You're having a great year, but keep working. I want to see consistency, game
He
in,
is working.
game out.
It's
And he
paying
is.
off.
He's
Yeah.
a hard worker, and it is starting to pay off. I just want to
Mhm.
keep seeing that consistency. Every performance doesn't have to be a goal. We know that. It's not like you're not expecting a guy to score a goal every match or anything. It's got to be that consistency, though, right? First touches,
Mhm.
the runs he makes, he's getting more and more. Even if you don't get the ball every time, like you're not going to get the ball every time. You just have
Yeah.
to make the run, like you do, because especially when you have Denis Bouanga on your left and David Martinez on your right, if you're playing in the
Mhm.
middle, and let's say usually those guys have been starting together, you have to make those runs because it
Yeah.
opens up so much space for those two, like on either side. Whenever you make those runs, you take guys on a diagonal run like that. Sometimes you are going to get the ball, like Ryan fed you, and you're going to score. Great.
Yeah.
Other times you're going to create so much more space for those two to just exploit. You have to do it. And that's where we need that consistency and keep growing, man. He's working hard. We love
Another
it.
thing I like about Nathan is that he was really mad after that Derby match in Carson. I mean, he was one of the first ones that went straight into the locker room,
Good.
as the players were shaking hands and hugging. I love that about him. He really, really wanted to get that win. And I was standing right behind the bench, and he was one of the ones that was standing up on the bench, yelling. He wanted that win. So I love that. He's a gamer. He's a fighter.
Yeah. Look, you don't get to the professional level in any sport without being ridiculously competitive, right? We all know that. We know the stories, and they are true. Frankly, of most athletes I've ever met, virtually everyone. There's been a few guys who didn't particularly love the sport they played. It was literally just a job. But most guys, when you get to that high, they are uber competitive in everything.
Everything.
Euchre on the plane, tiddlywink, whatever. They're going to be super competitive, right? But there's some guys who even take it a notch further. That's Nathan Ordaz. He is even more competitive. And I think that's even growing. Like he's still getting into that as young as he is, just finding that even. But you can just tell he just wants it. And that has suited him very well so far in his career, especially outside of the pitch, working hard. That is definitely helping him. No question about it. And it's going to be a fun one. Don't forget, coming up, that's on Saturday, 4 o'clock Pacific for the airtime on 710 ESPN app only this weekend against Montreal. Time now to preview the rest of the MLS, Mario, part of the Plus of LAFC Plus. We love talking Major League Soccer. And these are games we want to watch and just give you a reason or two why. What we all know the names of some of these, but we'll start with a big one in the East for different reasons for both teams. Philadelphia against Inter Miami, Mario.
Yeah, Philadelphia hosting Inter Miami. It's a big one. Philadelphia sitting on top of the Supporters Shield standings right now, tied with FC Cincinnati on points, but they have the upper hand on the goal differential. Yeah, exactly.
No, you're right. They have the same. Yeah, that's right. My bad. You're
big
right.
time too. Big time on goal differential. So they're leading there. And Ty Baribo is a big part of their success. He's leading MLS with goals, 11 big goals from him this season. That's going to help out the team a lot. But the entire team has been contributing too, Dave. It's kind of like what's going on over at Vancouver, where everybody's pulling in the same direction. It's not like a big, DP is, leading this team. It's like everybody pulling in the same direction. And Philly actually rotated their lineup last weekend and still pulled out the 1-0 win in Atlanta. So everybody's helping out. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. We know it's not about designated player spending with Philadelphia. They don't spend money. They're cheap. Right. Let's face it. But they win. I mean, it works, and they have a system.
Even more impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, their midfield is just, you might not see the big stats out of them, but they're dominating right now. Not just good. They are dominating matches all through that midfield. And not only going forward, but defensively as well. Just tremendous from Philadelphia. They're a much better team right now than Inter Miami, but, any given day, Inter Miami could just right the ship. I mean, I truly believe that. They're a mess right now, too. I mean, let's face it. They have their issues. They are. But any given day, they could beat anyone. And almost literally on the planet. They could, it's just the way it is. And here's why I think it's a great call. You're the one who picked this match, too. Inter Miami, I want to see how they start playing again. Yes, there's a lot of issues going on in MLS. You still have the Club World Cup coming up. You got to sharpen up.
That's another reason I picked it.
Let's go here. I mean,
they got to sharpen up quickly. Fix that defense.
I make no bones about it, Mario. There are some teams, if they were in the tournament from MLS, I wouldn't root for because I just don't like them that much. We know who they are, a couple of teams. We don't have to break that down. But for the most part, any other team I'm rooting for them to do well, to represent MLS, right? Now, not if they end up playing LAFC in the tournament, obviously. I'm just saying, I don't particularly hate Seattle. We got a good rivalry going against them, but I don't sports hate them so much, nothing close to compared to the Timbers. So I'm going to be rooting for Seattle. I'm rooting for Inter Miami in this Club World Cup. I am. I make no bones about that. Now, if we ever step on the pitch against them in MLS or in this tournament or any other, yes, of course, we want to crush them. No thanks. A lot of times I'm rooting against Inter Miami in MLS, frankly, against other MLS teams, depending on where they are in the standings, Supporters Shield. I always keep an eye on that because I believe LAFC are going to get right back into that too. So, but in this Club World Cup, I want to see Inter Miami start playing well so they can represent pretty well in that tournament. It's a great shot. They got to
fix that defense, though. I mean, conceding 20 goals in the last 7 matches is not going to do it. They're really, really struggling. But, a win on the road against Philly could help them turn things around, and they got to get this right before that FIFA Club World Cup.
Another game Mario highlighted, which I love, San Diego FC against Galaxy. Mario, tell us why you really want to keep an eye on this one.
I mean, San Diego's still performing well. It's their inaugural season. They're still doing their thing. I don't think it's a fluke at this point. We're not talking playoffs yet because that's when they're really going to get tested. But as far as the season, they're in third place, Dave, and they're holding their spot. You know, Mikey Vara has given a true identity to this team early on. And this weekend, they host the Galaxy. This is a big game for that stadium, for that fan base. This is kind of like their derby match, if you will say. This is their big game. It's at Snapdragon. And the Galaxy are coming off a game where they feel that they're building. And actually, the game before playing against LAFC, the Galaxy were building in that game too in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So I think Greg Vanney is kind of feeling good with his renewal of his contract. The way that the guys have been playing their last two games, I think they're kind of starting to build. And I think this could possibly be the Galaxy's first win of the season. I don't know about you, Dave.
Well, I'll say it this way. I don't disagree necessarily. I don't know that they're going to win. Maybe, but here's the way I'll put it. You're right. They had a decent performance against Philly for a lot of that game, then fell apart.
For the first half, yeah.
But we saw what they can do against LAFC. I know it's a derby and everybody gets up a little different. I get that.
Yeah.
But Mario, you can't really go blaming Greg Vanney if you fall on your face again against San Diego, in the sense that you just had a good performance against LAFC. Yes, it was their best performance of the season, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. That's what happens in derby matches. So we saw what LA Galaxy could do against LAFC, right? Yeah. You go out and lose to San. It's all on the players then. Shame on you if you can't be building up something here. If you don't have enough pride, you got embarrassed in the opening game against San Diego FC at your home. You built on something at home against the LAFC, your biggest rival. Now you're going to play another rival, Southern California. If you can't build on this performance and play well, I'm not, look, you might get another draw, you might, whatever. But if you don't play really well, shame on the players then. You got to have some pride here. And again, I'm talking about I don't really care. I hope they lose, quite frankly. I mean, but shame on them. It's their fault. It's not Greg Vanney anymore. If you can't build on, now I'm not saying there aren't other issues with, I don't know that he's the long-term answer, but he did just win him a title. They got a, contract extension. Like, it's on the players. Like, if you can't build on this, guess what, players? I don't know if you don't know this. Ricky Pooj ain't coming back yet, okay? Like, he should have been over that a long time ago here. It's no more excuses. Like, it's on you.
I've been feeling that it was the effort of those players because they really shouldn't be as bad as that record is.
I agree.
Mean, Marco Royce, Painsel, Peck, Yoshida. I mean, they should be able to pick up more points as the season moves forward, especially building off of the last two games that they've had. But there's no excuse for that, the lack of effort.
And my choice here in the last one is very kind of similar reasons for why I want to watch Philadelphia Inter Miami. Seattle against FC Dallas. Kind of has little to do with MLS. Seattle's at home. We know their 3 games in the Club World Cup are going to all be at home. Lumen Field. They're one of the, they are hosting their 3 club matches. Now, they are in maybe the group of death. Like, it is not, I'm not sitting there telling you it's going to be some easy ride at home, but they are at home against 3 brutal teams. You better start playing, like, high-level stuff. And they've played well lately, but LAFC took it to them, Mario. It wasn't even, they weren't even on the same level as LAFC in that match. I know Seattle does this sometimes, so I'm not going to just totally throw them under the bus for that. But you got to really start playing like this is the time, fellas. You are in the Club World Cup. You're not LAFC having to worry about a game against Club America. You are in. You have got to take advantage of these MLS games and really sharpen up. And that's what I want to see out of a team like Seattle.
I think Schmetzer knows that it's a long season and there's many tournaments that they're always involved in. So he's one of the best at, getting them to a spot where they can have a chance, right? So like the whole season, the MLS season, they could be rotating on certain games, but they know that they're going to give themselves a shot to get into a good playoff spot. And I think that's what Schmetzer's did. Because look, when they played at BMO, they were on a rotated lineup, a heavily rotated lineup, and so were we. So there's no excuse, but I'm just saying that I think Schmetzer's just good at managing it all, as
Fair enough.
Cherundolo is too. There's so many tournaments for LAFC, so many tournaments for Seattle, and I think managing it all is
Yeah.
one of the hardest parts for a manager of LAFC or a Seattle team too.
No, that's very fair. You're not wrong. But here's the thing, too. These are essentially your training camp for the Club World Cup, right? I know you're
Yeah.
going to have some time to get ready and everything, but I'm talking about real games that count in MLS. Like, this is your real training camp to get ready for the Club World Cup, right? These things, not only are they MLS important, of course, it's 3 points on the line. It's a 6-pointer when you're talking about playing Dallas. But
you can't replicate real games. These are real games where you can get that training, that practice. Yeah.
You played pretty well against your bitter rival in Portland on the weekend. You got a point. Cascadia Cup, you're never going to be too complain about that on the road. So it's a decent performance. You got to build on that. And these are your games to get ready for what is going to be a brutal group stage for Seattle. So that's why I want to see this game against Dallas. Like, quite frankly, they should come out and wipe the floor off with Dallas to get ready for that. Really, I mean, and again, what does that mean in MLS? We all know how crazy it can be. Who knows? They might come out and lose 5-0 and then get out of their group in the club. I mean, you never know. Yeah. I mean, it's just soccer too, but an MLS
Dave,
crazy.
I've been having this conversation about the parity in MLS because there is a lot of soccer fans, like friends that I have that are soccer fans, but they watch other leagues, and they're excited for the FIFA Club World Cup, right? And then they start talking about LAFC and the teams that are in it, and they start talking about the parity in MLS,
Sure.
And it's tough. It's so real. It's so tough each and every week for MLS. You could be at the very, very bottom and the very, very top, and it's going to be a good match.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's going to be a tough match.
It's designed like the NFL, We all think we know what's going to happen in an NFL season, but there's always craziness that comes about because of the parity and the salary cap. I mean, it does make a difference. In England, sorry to the clubs that got relegated a little bit ago, but you had absolutely no chance all season long, essentially to win even any games, really. I mean, I guess they won a few here and there, but they were so bad, the teams that get relegated. They have no chance, none, virtually every weekend, let alone to win a title or to get into Europe or what, So there's so many teams in those European leagues that have no shot at anything but praying they don't get sent down. In MLS, you don't have promotion relegation, but what you have is you don't know if you're going to win tomorrow or the next day. You don't know how you're going to perform week in and week out. As crazy as it is, there's some great teams in MLS that we end up finding out who are great, and they're going to win more, of course. And we always have bad teams too. But even the worst of teams has a better chance to win week in and week out in MLS than any other league. That's just the way it's set up. So I agree. Yeah, it's a very good point. But I think it's almost, some people don't like it. Okay, whatever. It's your opinion. You don't have to love MLS. But I think it's a selling point, really, in this day and age. I mean, I respect people who are fans of a club over in Europe because you've been a fan of that club for 50 years. But, you don't see many new Premier League fans in America, Mario, jumping on the Ipswich Town bandwagon. It's Liverpool, it's Chelsea, it's a lot of front runners, and we even have friends who are like that. Sorry, you know who you are. I love you, but come on, it's not hard to I'm going to be a fan of Man City, or I'm going to be a fan of Liverpool. There's not a lot of Wolves fans running around.
That's why it's even more impressive to what LAFC has done since its existence, right? Getting to the MLS Cup final on back-to-back seasons, getting to CONCACAF Champions Cup finals. Wow, how many have they gone to? How many finals has LAFC been in? That's very tough to do year in and year out because of all these rules, salary cap rules and parity and all this. It just goes to show how LAFC is really, really about winning and being competitive in every single tournament.
And I cannot wait for this LAFC match Saturday at Stade Saputo. Airtime 4 p.m. for the pregame Pacific on the ESPN LA app only this weekend against CF Montreal. Join us. I'm going to give you my level best. I'm going to work my butt off to give you the best call I possibly can on the radio, and the kickoff about 4:40 Pacific time. Mario, great stuff. Episode 56 now in the books, man. Take us out of here. As always, had a great time. Thanks, brother.
Dave, you always rock it on the mic as far as the goal calls. If you haven't heard Dave do his thing, make sure you tune in on the ESPN LA app this Saturday. Like you said, 4 p.m. on the app. That for the pregame show, 30-minute pregame show, and we also do a postgame show too. So make sure you tune in, check us out. This has been LAFC Plus. I'm Mario Ruiz. That's Dave Denholm. All right, guys, catch you on the next one. Peace.